Well, welcome to Fortuna Admissions video series. I'm with my colleague Kristen Beyers, who was the Deputy Director of Admissions at the Yale School of Management. Kristen, great to have you on today's session.
Thank you, Matt. Looking forward to it.
So we sort of talk at Fortuna, obviously, many clients that are applying to the world's top schools, and thousands of applicants for just a few hundred places at those schools, and that can be fairly daunting to them. But we talk about enjoying the process of applying to business school. After 3-4 years out of college and the professional career that you've built, this opportunity to sort of step back and really reflect on where you've been, and of course, importantly, this whole process, where you want to go. So just perhaps a few pointers from your perspective on advice on starting that process of self-reflection and putting together those ideas. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think, especially if you think about some of the specific essay questions that applicants are sort of struggling with, they can feel very open-ended and larger than life and intimidating at times. So I really agree, Matt, with the comment of making sure you're enjoying this process and seeing it as a positive thing. Self-reflection is really important, I think, for the entire admissions process, but certainly in writing those more open-ended written essays where you have more control to make sure you can tell your story in the way that you really want to. My day job now, I'm also in corporate America, and I spent a number of years as a recruiter. And it is really interesting to see MBA alumni in the workplace, and I just know that those that have taken that time to do some self-reflection and they're sort of self-aware and they've got high levels of emotional intelligence, that really pays off tenfold throughout the rest of careers. So I would say to applicants, like, your time is not wasted. This is really important for you as you kind of embark on the journey and you start the career process on campus as well. And I agree, it's a nice time to kind of take a pause, get a breath of fresh air, as I'd like to say, and really, take that time, which we don't ever do, to think about, what your strengths and opportunities are, what your preferences are, your styles, things that make you tick, environments you don't work well in. All of those qualities are really insightful and really important to know as you're putting together the application. My other piece of advice would be not to get too hung up on needing to do this sort of formal self-assessment process, but really it's just practically taking some time to take some stock, think through some maybe key moments in your life. There's an exercise that a lot of students used to do that I worked with, where you literally would just take a piece of paper and map out some high and low points on your professional career and your personal career, and draw a line and kind of look at those peaks and valleys and see sort of what that's telling you, and that can actually help come up with ideas to talk about in terms of answering some of the essay questions. So I think something as simple as that could be really insightful. And I would also recommend, as a piece of it, to get out of yourself and to make sure you're talking with others that you trust and gaining feedback if they haven't already done so. And feedback can come in a number of ways, right? So it could be formal feedback from a current or prior manager, or going back and reading some of your own performance reviews. If you're a few years out of your undergrad, it could be looking at a grade from a great paper that you've done and a note from a faculty member, or even talking to your neighbors or your parents and getting sort of some more personal insights in terms of key themes that other folks are perceiving from you. So I think that mix of sort of looking introspectively and then also kind of testing that out with folks that know you will help you really come up with a sort of authentic way to tell your story.
Right. And the school academic transcripts, they have your resume, you've got recommenders sort of talking about you. So perhaps it's also that there's no right or wrong answer. Yale now asks the question, describe the biggest commitment you made. and they wouldn't be able to judge compared to other commitments that you've made. So is it so much finding the right answer, or just finding that sort of authentic self, and how you then share that personal narrative?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. It's absolutely, they're not looking for a certain canned answer for any of the essays, and I would agree that that's the same across the top business school programs. They're really looking to hear your story and to understand what you value as important, things that you've struggled with, succeeded with, and again, making it true to yourself.
Right. In your role in admissions, did you develop a fairly good sense of that authenticity, or perhaps when you felt that an applicant was trying too hard to sort of share a story that they thought that you want to hear, which is perhaps not the right way to go?
Yeah, I think you can. After reading a number of applications, the committee, and everyone has a different perspective, and that's the beauty of the committee, right? That multiple people are looking at your essays and reading through them at most schools, and then coming together and talking about them in a group. So I do think that you're able to kind of read through the lines and understand if this is something that really rings true to what someone believes in or struggled with or persevered through or feels passionate about, or something that they think would look good on the application.
Right. Well, Kristen is one of nearly 30 coaches at Fortuna that have worked inside the admissions office, and I think sort of experience to be able to pick up on that narrative as you share your personal experiences. So we encourage you to reach out and share your stories and feedback for guidance on the next steps to business school. Thanks everybody for being with us on this video. Kristen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.